signal tonight. Let's see. Hey, we got a signal. We're a little early tonight, so we'll give a little time for you guys to get here and get live with us. Leave me a comment as you get in here so that I know you guys are present and with us. Let's see if we can get the old computer cranked up and going to make sure everything's running smooth. Bear with me just a second here. We're going to talk about top 5 baits tonight, and well, we've had some crazy weather, but it's going to start getting better this weekend, I do believe. There's some folks showing up right now. Let's see here. Awesome. Here we go. Hunter Manning, JD Sports Room, Dustin Hickson, Lance B, and Real Fish 365. Appreciate all you guys joining us very much. Awesome. All right. So we got it going on. Ian Ashley's in the house. Brett Wren is in the house. What's up, Brett Wren? So, let's get this party started. You guys, if at any time, we've had some crazy weather here lately. As you guys know, we've had some power outages in the town I live in. So, if at any time we lose signal or lose picture, please let me know in the comments, because I can't always tell by the feed that I have on my phone that the picture went bad. So, anyways, it's been crazy cold. There's been snow on the ground for like 4 days at this point. It's just, the other night it was up in the middle of the night and it was 8 degrees. And I've never seen that in the state of Texas, 8 degrees. That's pretty crazy. So, it's been some brutal weather. It's going to be some brutal fishing. If I'm being straight up honest with you guys, I have not been on the water this week. I am fishing the next 2 days in a row, and I'm off Sunday and then fishing every day next week. So, be back on the water a bunch. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what I'm going to go with and what I was going with before I left for the Fun and Sun Tackle Show at the end of last week, and what I plan on going with tomorrow, because it should be pretty predictable. These fish are going to be sluggish. It's going to be cold. You're going to have to either make them react or tease them into biting. One of those two things is how you're going to have to do it. So pretty standard wintertime fishing, honestly. Somebody says, when we fishing with Hackney? Bro, I promise you, the day that invite comes, I'm dropping everything. I hope none of y'all have me booked the day that Hackney invites me, because y'all getting dropped. That guy's awesome. He's a very, very nice man. He's awesome to talk to. Very easy to have a conversation with. Made me very comfortable in that situation where I was actually pretty nervous. So, warmer weather coming. I don't think it's going to be drastically warm enough, long enough to completely flip everything around. But come about Monday, I think the bite's going to really start to get a little better. We should have a little better bite Saturday and Sunday. And then by the time Monday gets here, pretty steady, consistent, solid winter bite should be going down on a little bit of a warming trend, which is always fun. But let's go ahead and get into the top 5 baits for the night. We got plenty of you guys in here now. So, you know, I talk about the ChatterBait a lot in the winter. I want to show you guys a little variation on that. You know, normally trim a little bit of that 4.5-inch Live Magic Shad off. I actually go to this black and blue one a lot, and this is actually a skirt that I hand tied on there myself to get it just the way I wanted it. But black and blue, and then I get a black and blue Live Magic Shad, and I don't trim it at all. I want all the bulk I can get. I want to create as hard and big of a profile as I can. That water gets really dirty in the wintertime, especially with all the weather we've had and some of the wind that we've had and all that kind of crazy stuff. So, right there, 3/8 ounce ChatterBait with the full Live Magic Shad, black and blue skirt. And the big thing for me on that is the gold blade. That gold blade is a big deal for me on this particular bait. So that's one of my old school Z-Mans that still has the old snap on it, as you can see. So I still like that one right there. But anyways, that's a little difference in the ChatterBait than what we normally do. You know, old standby in the wintertime, we throw black and blue a lot. But I've been throwing this color a lot. And Casey at 6 Cents is going to be mad at me, but it's kind of a, whoa, fishing rod banging off stuff. Got a green and a brown to it, and I'm throwing that green pumpkin smash crawl. I've actually gone to the smash crawl for my trailer. If you guys watched the jig video, you heard me talk about that little bit more subtle of a waving action that smash crawl will give versus the hard kick of the rage crawl. And so it is the time of year the water's plenty cold enough. I've gone down to the smash crawl. That's primarily what I was throwing at the end of last week, and what I will be throwing tomorrow and the next day is the smash crawl. So 3/8 ounce jig, 1/2 ounce jig, depending on the wind, and throwing a smash crawl. Black and blue is still a great color this time of year. I haven't completely gone away from black and blue. I've just that green color's been getting some bites lately, so I'm actually throwing both. Movement 80X. When it comes to getting a reaction bite, there's not much better than that. When it comes to getting a reaction bite from a big fish, there's not much better than that right there. You guys saw the big fish on Monday that we caught on that bait right there. Tremendous wintertime bait. It gets them to react sometimes when nothing else can. So Movement 80X, that's a shad drone. My favorite shad pattern in the Movement 80X right there. Now this bait has been kind of king on Lake Fork for most guys, and as bad as I am with it, I'm starting to get some bites with it. So the old jerkbait, the 106 Provoke jerkbait. This is the 2 to 5 foot version. I'm throwing it over the outside edge of grass, right off the edge of the grass, right where the grass quits growing. Some of those fish, when it gets really cold, will pull out on that outside edge, just spin off the edge of that grass around timber, and that's what I'm throwing to get them. And it's a good enough jerkbait that even I'm catching them, so they are biting a jerkbait, guys, flat out. When I can catch them on jerkbait, they're biting it good. Well, there you go. There's 5 baits for the night right there. Let me see. See if I can start getting some shad drone, hard to find, yeah. Start getting some of these questions. Somebody says depth. Frisco, Texas man, my fellow devil dog right there. Hey, depth on what, buddy? Because, so I'll go ahead and just break it down for you. On the jigs, same depth on the jigs. My main creek channels are about bottoming out around 20 foot. The grass, I'm just going as far out as I can find the grass growing. Right now on Lake Fork, I'm finding hard time finding grass deeper than 4 or 5 foot. But that grass is still holding them in that area because that's what grass does. So, you know, for all these shallow water baits, chatterbaits, Movement 80X, jerkbait, all that stuff, and the Lipless Crankbait is going, oh, I didn't give you a 5th bait, did I? Whoops. So for all that stuff, I'm fishing around 4 to 5 foot. Got a surprise entry on the top 5 that I almost forgot about. Depth with the jerkbait, about 5 foot where I'm fishing. I'm working that bait down to about 3 foot down in the water column. They're suspending right out off the edge of that grass. On the jerkbait, it's not a real dramatic one like you get in clear water lakes. The water's not real clear, so I'm working that jerkbait pretty good. It's pop pop, pop pop. So it's pretty steady. Just about a 2-second pause in between, maybe 3-second, and 2 good, pretty firm snaps. So the 5th bait for tonight is probably going to surprise some of you guys. But whenever they will bite a jerkbait, there's one other bait they bite. And if you want to go for a home run, it's a great bait to throw. The old glide bait, guys. Believe it or not, the glide bait correlates with the jerkbait very well. Now, we haven't been throwing this very much, but it's something I'm putting in my arsenal going forward starting tomorrow. With as good as they're biting the jerkbait, we're going to start spending a lot of time throwing this too. And I know we're going to get some bites on it because we always get bit on this when we're getting bit on jerkbait. The big deal is when it's wintertime jerkbait bite, you really have to slow down. You really have to creep this thing to where it's just barely swimming in an S-curve and give it subtle twitches in between. Give it about 6 to 8 handle turns, maybe 10, and then 2 subtle twitches so that bait will just be creeping along and then go very slow and subtle, but it's a lot like a jerkbait with a stop and a pause type of action. I'm telling you, fish of a lifetime can happen in a heartbeat on one of them right now. That glide bait is the 6 Sense Flow Glider 140, which is out of stock on the 6 Sense website. But they have a new one, the 130, which I've actually got some. Should be in the mail. If not tomorrow, I'll get them on Monday. My new Flow Glider 130s. It's just a new take, a new upgraded version on this bait right here. It's basically the same exact size. What is my choice of braid? I use Power Pro, guys. It's hard to go against Power Pro. It's been very dependable, very durable. Time after time I've used Power Pro a bunch, and it hadn't really failed me. So there you go, Hunter Manning, Power Pro. Thanks for asking that a bunch, buddy, because I lose track of them sometimes, so thank you. What if your reservoir doesn't have a deep channel running through it? I've ran all over my lake and can't find a channel or big drops anywhere, barely rock and a lot of grass. Okay, so in a lake that has no structure, right? It's just kind of a bowl, but you have a lot of grass. Those grass lines will be your structure. That's what they will use. They will use the deeper edges of that grass. They will use the points, the cuts, anything that's different in that grass. Kind of like what we talked about with Greg Hackney the other day When you've got a whole bunch of grass, you've got to find something different. Maybe the grass breaks apart a little bit. They'll use those edges, find the points and pockets in those edges, and then start working them and dial in what difference are they keyed in on. Are they on points? Are they, maybe there's where it scatters a little bit. Are they in those scattered areas? You just have to start really picking that grass apart and key in on the differences and find out which difference it is that they're keyed in on. And from then on, you can skip all that other grass and just really pinpoint them and target them. Start creating yourself a pattern. What's my go-to knot? My go-to knot is the Homer's Circle Knot for fluorocarbon and mono. And my go-to knot for braid is a Palomar knot, but I take a Palomar knot and tie 2 overhand knots over the top of it. Yeah, lipless crankbaits, I didn't include that in the top 5. I mean, that's a given, guys. You should have a lipless crankbait tied on, so I guess it's a top 6. So lipless crankbaits are 100% a given. Now, what I have found is they will favor the lipless crankbait or the chatterbait or the jerkbait one day to the next. The jerkbait's been really consistent, and there's been either a lipless crankbait bite or a chatterbait bite, but hardly ever both in the same day. But I always have both tied on right now. Scroll back up. Lane Seaman says he's been waiting for that glide bait to show up. Do I tune my jerkbait? So here's the best thing about 6-cents lures. I don't want to turn this into the whole 6-cents lure show, but I might as well because I'm that devout about my belief in 6-cents lures. No, I've never bought a bait from 6-cents lures that I had to tune. Those baits come out of the package perfect. Hooks, action, everything, paint job, finish, durability. I mean, there's 6-cents lures, in my opinion, and this is why I was fishing their stuff long before I was sponsored by them. I do happen to have a long-term relationship with Casey. We actually know each other from way back in high school. Weren't real good friends or anything, but we knew each other as acquaintances way back then. Got separated for a lot of years and found our way back to each other through fishing, kind of ironically. But I was fishing their stuff before I knew Casey Sobczak, a guy that I personally know, owned the company. Top-notch quality on everything they do. Everything they do comes out of the package, and you cannot find a better version of that type of bait on the market, period. Plus, they're innovative as all get out. Like that Movement 80X, man, there's not another bait that behaves like that one. So, anything from 6-cents lures, buy it with confidence. I'm actually going to be having a discount code for you guys coming up. Monday's video, we will feature a discount code, so you guys will be able, I'll provide links for you guys to actually get discounts on 6-cents product starting Monday going forward. We'll have that ready for you guys, so be watching for that. A couple other things I want to take time to plug if I can. Number one is the Guide in the Graph map chip. If you don't know about the Guide in the Graph map chip, please check it out. Check it out on the channel. Check it out on my website, yourlakeforkguide.com. Check out the Shop My Gear tab on that website, yourlakeforkguide.com, Shop My Gear tab. First product you'll see is the Guide in the Graph map chip. Waypoints that I've selected for January and February that you can buy a chip, put it in there, it'll give you those waypoints. And not only will it give you those waypoints, but it will tell you exactly how I fish those areas this time of year as far as baits, what the area is. Is it a creek channel? Is it a grass flat? Is it a point? What is it? And how I attack it. So it's like putting me in your graph. That's why we called it the Guide in the Graph. Also on that Shop My Gear page, the Shop My Gear tab on the yourlakeforkguide.com website, you can buy the exact rods I use, some of the Smash Tech baits that I use, some different stuff that I use day in, day out. You can actually find right there on that page, and you guys can order it straight from me, and you know you're going to be getting the exact gear that I use, the exact rods, the exact models, the exact sizes, all the stuff that I use every day. So you know it's stuff that, somebody that fishes every day and depends on it, it's certified in that kind of way. So. Is it better to fish deep or shallow this time of year? I have something that I've for years have called the annual, pre-spawn two-step. These fish, a lot of these fish, we have resident fish that are going to be shallow, and we have resident fish that are going to be deep. But the vast majority of fish, as we get closer and closer to springtime, guys, they're going to start moving in, and then they're going to get hit like they did this week. They're going to pull back out. And then, you know, this next week we're going to get some warm weather. They're going to push back in. And so it's not an either or thing. It's a read the conditions and be prepared to do both. That's why you see I've got, for me, my primary tool for deep in the winter is my jigs. I love to get in that heavy timber in those creek channels and fish those deeper creek channel bends with a jig. But I've always got a lot of shallow water baits ready. Those big fish, you know, the earliest movers are usually the biggest females in the lake. So I'm always prepared to get up shallow because a lot of the biggest fish of the year that you'll catch up shallow can come in January, February, and early March. If you look back through the history of the state of Texas, some of the biggest bass ever caught were caught then. State record was caught in January. Now, the state record was caught out deep, but there's been a whole bunch of teenagers and double-digit fish caught really shallow this time of year. Ian Ashley, a couple guys have already got the chip. Some of them say they're excited to get to use the new chip. Beautiful. I appreciate you guys buying that so much. Give us feedback on that. Let us know what you thought. It is a new product. If there's any issues getting it to load, we tried to include really detailed instructions. If you have any issues loading it or anything, please let us know. We want to make sure everybody is happy with that product. What's the turnaround time from order to ship on your chip? Trying to time it out right when I hit a tourney on fork. So if you're just buying the $50 chip, you can order it any time, and the chip itself is not going to change. The chip for January and February is built how it is. Now, if you have tournaments in March, then you're going to have to wait and order that chip at the 1st of March. We're going to do a deal where you can order it like a couple weeks beforehand, but you're going to want to get the March and April chip if you have your tournaments in March and April. Turnaround on delivery, if you're in the state of Texas, is within a few days. So when you send the order in, it gets shipped the next day, and you know, usually from there, it's just sometimes 1 or 2 days. If you live all the way across the state, it might be 3 or 4 days. Now, if you're out of state, cross country or something, then it's going to take, maybe a week on the shipping. See a lot of guys saying they got it real fast. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a day or two. For most of you guys that are in Northeast Texas DFW, you're probably going to get it in 1 or 2 days. What is up, Timmy Rhodes, my old tournament partner checking in. Timmy Rhodes. What's up, buddy? Because I'm not real good at it, I might do a little more cranking, a little more, some of the mid cranking baits like the old wiggle warts and stuff like that. If I have no grass, though, what I'm going to look for is rock if I can find it. If nothing else, I'm going to get on timbered points, and I'm going to fish a jerkbait that suspends a little deeper. I want one that goes down 6, 8, 10 foot maybe. You can find some jerkbait models that suspend down that deep. That's what I'm going to go to at that time. But really, for me personally, the way I fish, I would probably prefer a mid-depth type of crankbait like the old wiggle warts, stuff like that. 6 Cents makes a mid-depth MD250 that I love this time of year, real tight wiggle on that MD250. And 6 Cents actually has a new one called the Curve 55. Just get it. If you like mid-depth crankbaits, if you think about the old wiggle warts, then the Curve 55. You think the old wiggle warts were good? The Curve 55 is a modern adaptation that they took a whole bunch of time to get exactly right. And just like I always say with 6 Cents lures, I rep them proudly because everything comes out of the package ready to go. And this Curve 55 is for real, guys. It ain't no joke. So somebody asked me about the lightweight reel that I tried out a few months back. Piece of Fun Phantom. I don't like to talk bad about product, guys. It is very light. It is very affordable. It feels great in your hands. It casts really well. It's got a very strong drag system. It's making some funky noises already. I mean, that's just the truth. It's already starting to have a little clanking and clanking going on that doesn't sound very good. So, time will tell if that's something serious or if it was just kind of a one-off deal on a really cold day. But we will see. Curve 55 tight wobble. Somebody else just have a tight wobble. The Curve 55 is very erratic. It wanders. It does random movements. That's the big deal. If you know anything about the old wiggle warts, the reason that everybody wants the old ones and pays $60 for them on eBay versus buying the remakes of the wiggle warts is because the old wiggle warts were very random in their movement. The Curve 55, I've seen it in the water. I've seen it on camera underwater. They got it right. It is the new Wigglewort, guys, and then some. It's the new Wigglewort with better hooks, probably built a little more durable, and awesome, one-of-a-kind custom paint jobs that they are famous for at 6 Sense Lures. What would I look for if I'm a bank fisherman during the winter to catch more fish? I'm going to look for rock. Rock's a big deal, or concrete even. Anything that's hard like that is going to absorb heat on warming days, so those fish are going to hang around it even when it's not warming days. Now, on warming days, I'm going to try and get in some real flat, skinny areas bank fishing. On non-warming days, like we've had the last week or so, I'm going to find some rock with the deepest water I can find close by it. And then I'm going to go about it with the same stuff that we're talking about, a jig, a jerkbait. Kind of hard to fish some of that other stuff like a lipless crankbait movement 80X. You're kind of taking a risk there, but you know, a jig and a jerkbait would be a really big deal for me this time of year if I was bank fishing. Somebody's asking, has anybody used Middepth to repair soft baits? Any suggestions? Okay, so I'm going to show you guys something about Middepth. Middepth works very well if used correctly. What you have to understand about Middepth is it is not a glue. It is not an adhesive. It's actually a chemical compound that melts plastic. So when you use Middepth, you put it whatever's torn, you put it on both sides of that tear, and then you hold that together. You squeeze that together, and that you hold it like that for a while, and that plastic will melt back together just like brand new. I mean, literally, when you get it right, it's just like brand new. So that's the deal that you have to understand and kind of comprehend as you're using that Middepth. Get it on both sides of the tear, squeeze that tear together for a pretty good long while, maybe 30, 45 seconds a minute, and then let it cure. And once it sets up, it's going to be like brand new plastic. Other than the guys tournament, is there any guide open tournaments that I'm fishing this year? I don't have any plans to fish tournaments. If an opportunity comes up for me to fish an open tournament or something spur of the minute, I probably will, because I do like to compete. I do love tournament fishing. I'm not planning on competing in any big ones. It's just hard for me to get away from the lake when I got guaranteed money when I book trips. So it's hard for me to commit to tournaments. I am fishing the guys tournament. I did get booked right away, fortunately, this year. We lost me, but I think I'm back. Hey, we're coming back. Sorry about that interruption there, guys. We're back in business now, though. But yeah, been lucky to fish the last 2 years in top 5. Got a 3rd place last year, and you know, honestly, in that crowd, I want to win. Don't get me wrong. When I enter a tournament, I'm trying to win. I don't care about the money. I don't care about nothing else. I'm trying to win. But having a top 5 finish in that crowd is pretty dang good, because there is some salty hammers that hang around Lake Fork. Do I have any trips ever? I'm not sure what you mean by do I have any trips, buddy. Timmy Rhodes asking about the Hallbrook Open that Jason Smith used to put on. A little quick story for you guys. Some of you may have heard this one before, but the last tournament I fished other than the guides tournament was an open tournament on Lake Hallbrook, and I fished it with my old tournament partner, Mr. Timmy Rhodes, and we actually won that tournament. Tim caught a big 9-pounder off a bed, and I caught her 4.5-pound partner in crime that was on that bed with her, and we took that to the bank and won that tournament, so it's pretty cool. Do I ever turn away guide trips because of inclement weather or bad? I'm very upfront with my customers. I actually had a guy that was scheduled for tomorrow that we just decided to reschedule earlier today. Talking to him about how the weather's been. You know, we're not quite into that warming trend yet. You know, it's probably going to be a tough bite. So I'm very upfront and honest. If I don't think we're going to catch him, I'm going to tell you it's going to be a grind. One thing I will say, this time of year, always got a chance for a giant this time of year. But we discussed it. We actually moved him to next Wednesday, which I had open. I just had like one or two more days open next week. So we actually got him filled up and got him rescheduled for a week later. He was able to make that happen. So, yeah, I do reschedule trips because of inclement weather. And if I can provide a customer a better day, then I want to do that. Now, once we get to springtime, I can't because we're fully booked. So there's nowhere for me to put you. So we just have to fish whatever weather we get. If we get a bad cold front in March, it's just kind of part of the deal. It's just the way things go. Nothing you can do about it that time of year because I get booked. Like March is completely booked right now. Hey, I came back. I'm back from outer space. Somebody asked what rod and reel do I use on glide baits. On glide baits, I like to use Limit 5 Series 711 medium heavy. I like to use 20-pound mono on my glide baits. And for a reel, you know, I'm not real, I don't have the big swim bait reels. I don't throw them that much. I actually tend to throw them on Daiwa Excelliors. They have a very small spool. They hold a lot of line, and that's all that really matters to me. And I like mid-gear ratio reels on my swim bait so I can vary the speeds 6:3 to 1. So that's my setup for glide baits. It's cutting in and out, guys. I apologize for the... If anybody's got a couple last-minute questions, fire them quick. I'll try to answer them before I lose you again, but we'll probably fix have to bring it to a close. Fishing the banks. So a football jig or like a casting jig? Well, if I have rock, so he's asking about bank fishing with a jig, which type of jig would I throw? If I have rock or concrete, I like a football jig and I want to crawl it. And if I have some timber or grass, then I want a flipping jig. That's how I would decide that based on my cover. What would be the most efficient through that cover that I have? Well, I have actually really good internet. The issue is the Wi-Fi signal with the weather. Somebody's asking what internet do I have. I have I actually have fiber optic internet, but my Wi-Fi signal, which comes from that corner of my house, right over there, and we're in the garage, when we have inclement weather, when we have down power outages, down towers, sometimes the Wi-Fi signal loses strength. So that's why I have these issues sometimes out here because we have a ton of trees out here. And when we get, you know, like we've got a lot of power outages around us right now. We haven't lost power, but everybody around us has. It becomes kind of an issue on the signal sometimes. P-line? No. No, I don't use, I use Berkeley Big Game for my mono because I know it ain't going to break. That's what I use. Yeah, Peoples provides a great product, man. Wi-Fi signals in East Texas are tough. Yeah, get a booster. I could do that, you're right. But on these issues when we have power outages and weather issues, even a booster, there's still going to be interference from time to time in that signal because of the heavy woods and everything that we live in. But anyway, so, hey, we're back. By the way, I know it's backwards, but Nautical Mile Marine, hey, man, I was just down there today getting my boat serviced. Those guys, if you're looking for a boat dealer, you're looking for a service dealer, I don't know if you've been to Nautical Mile Marine in a while, but they've got it going on, man. They're phenomenal. The service they provide, they are the reason I get to stay on the water all the time, and I've never missed a trip. Knocking on wood, thanks to them, I've never missed a trip yet from any kind of a breakdown or anything. They always get me taken care of right away. Those guys are phenomenal. So if you're looking for anything with boat service or buying a boat or anything like that, check out Nautical Mile Marine, just south of Tyler, Texas, in Flint, Texas, but right outside of Tyler. There you go. I think I just answered that. Where are they located? Just south of Tyler on 155, Highway 155, like you're going to Old Lake Peastein. No, I don't do my own service. These guys right here, Nautical Mile, they take care of all my service for me. Lane Seaman, we appreciate you watching tonight. You got to bounce. All right, then. Well, hey, guys. I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. I think I'm losing signal again. If I am, I apologize. Really appreciate all you guys watching. Check out the Shop My Gear tab on yourlakefortguide.com for the guide and graph map chip, for my shirts, for the rods I use every day, some of the big swim baits I use every day. It's all on there. Something just flew out of my mouth. I apologize for that. But we will... Somebody's talking about how credited it got on their March trip. That's true. Sorry for the interruptions when I read. Appreciate all you guys. Love all you guys for watching. I know I say it all the time. I don't have the biggest fan base, but I got the best, and I mean it. So